Yeah. Well, I will.
And I look at the screen.
Yes, but no, we can look at each
Okay.
other too. It's okay.
Do you have to keep resetting
Yeah,
it?
well, I actually pull them in and I edit it, so
Okay.
it doesn't matter. Okay, well, welcome to the Grizzled Geologist podcast. I have brought my good friend, Ashley Magoo. Actually, how do you pronounce your last name now?
So now it's Seelye.
Seelye,
Yes.
exactly. It used to be Ashley McGee.
Yeah.
And so she works for Drill2Frac.
Drill2Frac.
Yep. She has come on today to kind of just talk a little bit of technical stuff about what their products and services are, and give a little plug for her company. But, you know, I really don't get to see you often enough.
Oh, it's so good to be working back in Oklahoma again.
It is. And when was it? Was it at the last AAPG that we bumped into each other again?
Yes.
It's the one I was there because I did the core.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so back in the day, you were the Weatherford rep for all kinds of services. I was using Justin Sheffey for logs.
Yes.
But we were doing all these little science experiments, right? We actually did like several projects, didn't we? With like Dick Drodes and like,
the geochemistry
oil
side
typing and that kind of thing.
Yes. I loved that part. So it was Weatherford Labs.
Yep.
And so, all of the oil and rock analysis. And so it's nice to be back somewhat in that realm.
Yeah, and it's somewhat similar. And I'm just going to stick on that topic because that was actually a really cool technical thing that we did. And people do it now where we do oil typing. And Ashley can actually talk about this a little. I'm going to go ahead and do it, but she can jump in because she was the rep that helped get this done. But we were drilling these wells and we thought that there was a chance that it was getting oil out of above where we were drilling and below in different rocks. And so what we did was we went around our field and we took samples from wells that only produced from that particular zone, say the Mississippian. I found another well that just produced from the Woodford, a vertical well, which is kind of rare to find, but there was one out there. Yeah. And then we took, if I'm not mistaken, Meisner oil.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Yeah, who's heard about the Meisner in a little bit? So there was this Meisner oil. And we were pretty sure we were getting into these different, parts of these different reservoirs. And so what we would do is we took those different samples, we did an analysis on them, and then we compared those against oils from wells that we had drilled horizontally. And I don't know if you remember, I kind of vaguely remember, but we were able to see that, yes, like 40% was coming out of the Mississippian, 30% out of the Woodford, and then the rest was coming out of the Meisner. So anyway, that's a pretty technical little thing, but that's a pretty cool tool that we actually did this project.
Yeah, it was great. And I'm not in that realm exactly anymore, but there's a lot of companies that do some great fingerprinting like that. So the Weatherford Labs group is now Stratum Reservoir. RevoChem does that, and GeoMark. There's a lot. So
there's a whole bunch.
I do miss a bit of the geochemistry side.
I always have like a little bit of nostalgia for something I used to do, So.
And because my mind always goes to a lot of the geochemistry, it's been interesting now on our side at Drill2Frac, we've started to look at partnering with some of this type of oil fingerprinting to see where we can tie in together well with that.
Oh, that's a perfect segue then. So, no, it's like you just nailed it like you always do. But so why don't you talk about some of the technology behind Drill? I remember, how old is the company?
This year will be 11 years. So, but what's interesting, so for the last 8 years, though, that's when we really probably were out and about a lot more because we found a new application of our data to where we could see depletion or depleted fractures. So as you're drilling through the wellbore, any localized depletion that you come across, and that component of our technology was found about 8 years ago. So that's probably when you started. So we started doing a lot more talks and papers.
So I noticed a visible thing, and then so that is interesting. Talk to me a little bit. How do we get this information you're talking about from an actively drilling well? So we've got for those of us who are familiar, we've got the TOTCO data. Is it basically off of that? Like you're taking pressure and torque and adding different things, and what are you doing with that?
So it's exactly TOTCO data or PASON. So EDR data. That's our main data input that we need. So mechanical specific energy drilling engineers have used that for a long time from the TOTCO data. And we do what we call ROC-MSE. So we're flipping that if we remove all of the drilling noise, if you account for bit wear and where you're sliding and all different drilling efficiencies, if you can remove that and smooth out that noise, then you are left with how hard it is for that bit to drill through the rock.
No
And
kidding.
so kind of closest to confined compressive strength, you're getting an idea of the rock strength changes along the lateral.
Okay.
So our output is a log, like a rock strength log.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's a single, like a curve, or a log that's got different curves with it?
It's a single. So you'll have the single track that looks, and we line in a lot of other data sets. So you'll see gamma. And so you can see how we track really well with gamma ray. Usually just the inverse. So which would make sense if you're in a certain lithology, it's going to be harder to drill through. But so from that, we were doing that. And the original application was a lot more for completions design, grouping like rock within each stage so that you have a more efficient frac.
I was going to ask exactly, like, kind of, so what's the applicability of this? So you're talking about like staging completions and future drilling programs, I would guess.
Yes. Yeah. So completions and optimizing the completions design was our first application. And then when we, like I said, 8 years ago, what happened, we were doing this work and we would see these anomalies in the data, like jumps in the rock strength, but it didn't tie with any change in rock in the gamma. It didn't tie with any drilling issues or efficiencies that were happening, and we couldn't explain it. And so we would just tell our clients, like, here's an unusual anomaly. We don't know exactly what it is, but here's our deliverable. And then we would see it only happen on child wells. And then we had one well that only the toe half had a parent next to it, and we saw all of these anomalies just there. So after a lot of papers and a lot of work, we've seen that it is actually a depleted fracture from the existing parent that you've drilled through.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can see if you have multiple wells, they line up on the stress azimuth in the area. So
that's
cool
incredible.
Stuff.
So, wow. No, that really is, that is incredible. And so I'm sure you've got some secret sauce on the back end where you end up with that curve. So that you're able to go in and identify, you know, these differences that may not be obvious on the typical log to a geologist or an engineer, frankly, because completions guys. So now you're looking at that on the completion side. Is that one of the main reasons that people are using it, is to have less geometric and actually very more similar completions? Is that like kind of the backbone?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of our work is ideally, if you can account for the depletion, you may just customize your completions design, not a big engineered completions where you're going to cut out rock. You don't want to miss any rock and not stimulate it. But if you can move one cluster over, drop one cluster, very small changes, you can avoid, if you place a perf right into that depleted fracture, it's just going to go straight to the parent and not, you know, not
exactly.
well. So you're going to have
so
a frac
you're
hit.
you can that, and that just gets, I can see where that adds the efficiency. Right. So you can identify that there's a fracture connected over to this wellbore. If you can stage around that, you are going to improve the performance of the well.
And not hurt the parent. But sometimes it may not be operationally easy to change up your completions design. Sometimes you just may be in a situation where you need to see geometric.
You have to do.
So, you know, we'll work with what's comfortable. Sometimes even it's just look back to understand.
That's what I was going to say. It seems like there would still be value in being able to analyze whatever frac that you had to put off.
But the big part, so the last 5 or so years, a lot more work has been done with a subsurface and geologist, and we have a lot of, like, probably 50% of our projects now are led by geology.
Nice.
So it's a whole different.
That is different. It was an engineering thing, to be honest with you. Well, and that's why you're back in Oklahoma.
I know, that's why I'm here. At AAPG.
You know, geologist. Oh, caboodle. Here we go with Magoo.
I know.
I love it.
We have, it's been, and this is where it's been fun, like coming back from my Weatherford Labs days too, to be able to say, like, to completion engineers, the rock does matter.
When you're selling it to the
think
same.
about like rock
people,
doesn't,
Where's your Rolodex? So that works though. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And a lot of geologists will use it on understanding well spacing and placement. If you can get an idea of the communication between wells, you can work with well spacing and a lot of different
Have you run it after,
investigative
like, I guess this is kind of jumping the shark here. It sounds microseismic-y almost. There's a microseismic feel in what you're saying.
They tie well, as far as from what I can understand. Like, microseismic is going to give you the idea in the far field. We're going to tell you the near wellbore. So
so you combine a lot?
We actually have used the data to validate each other. So like if you, some people will do a blind study.
This sounds just like freaking microseismic in a way, but different.
But it's,
like
we're going to
log.
Yeah, we're going to tell you just at the well bore because we're a snapshot in time. So it's only as the well's being drilled.
Correct.
This is
And can change after you've been through and run a bit over it 20 times and everything else. I didn't think about that.
So
Okay.
if you can optimize the frac from the beginning, at least you're getting a uniform distribution of the frac fluid and kicking things off well, because you may not have control once you get out. At least control what you can.
Yeah. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Ashley, this has been amazing. You're like my favorite person. Why don't you take just a second to let people know how to get in touch with your company, kind of if your range of services, and then you're on the hook for words of wisdom. So
goodness.
you have to tell people something that's going to improve their life and make them feel better today.
Oh, man.
And you have to come up with it on the spot. And I'm your favorite person for doing that.
Thank you. Is that a thing that you do now with all of your talks?
Everybody's
going
to do it. I'll be like, so what are your words of wisdom?
Man, I know.
But you can be thinking about them while you're pitching your company.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think we did a good pitch already. I mean,
yeah,
that's
you really did.
We're a small group and very hands-on. Not too much of our work is machine learning. We have a component, but most of our AI side is just things that make the efficient initial steps. But a lot of ours is in your hands, like processing, different things like that.
So are you delivering it to like people as we drill?
No.
Okay, so it has to be a summary. It has to be the well is finished and okay.
Yeah. So, but the moment the well TDs, you can send all the data to us because we do need to have those drilling reports so we can see any certain activities. Mud motor specs is very important.
Okay. So we do need to couple it with the drilling report. Okay.
And so as soon as it TDs, but we turn it around really quickly for the jobs that they are optimizing and customizing frac design. So we turn it around in like a week to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get it done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now you're on the hook for words of wisdom.
I know.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You can get stuck. I just came up with one that's got a bad word in it, but I kind of like it.
I know my little 4-year-old daughter probably has something really.
It can be as easy as, hey, make your bed in the morning before you go to school.
I wish I did that.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Okay, because you said bad words, you may have to
I have to
cut
do
it
it?
out. No, you may have to cut it out. But a long time ago, my mom told me that one of my dad's saying was, if you have to eat shit, then take big bites.
I love it. That's perfect. That's the one.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And I'm the worst at that. I get nervous about if there's something bad you have to do, you stumble, you stall, everything's like, no.
I love it. I love it. And the bad word is accepted. And I'm going to tell you mine just because like that. My dad always said, don't get into a shit flinging contest with a baboon because a baboon doesn't care if he's got shit all over.
Oh, God. So we're all in the same realm.
We're on the same realm. Yeah. We exist in the same plane. No, go ahead. Are you
No,
good?
that's it.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on. Dude, it's always nice to see you at these conferences. Everybody, this is Keith Carden, the Grizzled Geologist. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And to all of you people making well logs, keep on doing it. Bye.
You have to work for it. Don't be crazy. And work for your money.